this is going to be part 2, Mr. Elon Musk. Um, of April the 12th, 2024. I'm at formerly extended stay, now Admiral Suites. So I'm going to continue from the when I first moved here to Annapolis, Maryland, and I experienced my genitals being attacked. Here, where the United States military and Navy are prevalent, even when my genitals were attacked, and in New York, I remember seeing a military male with the army uniform on, walking around the shelter room where Imani and I was living in New York. I didn't know why he was there, but I remember seeing him. And when my genitals were being attacked spiritually then in a sword period, right before we moved here. And then I kept experiencing thoughts right before we moved here that I had herpes. When I moved here, I experienced these things with my dreams being manipulated, predominantly black males, but also those that speak Spanish. These are the two groups from South Central America and Mexico. Predominantly out of those two groups of males, of blacks, trying to have sex with me and saying we're the same, and I wasn't clean. Especially when the sore will appear on my genitals, or a little sore will appear in my coccyx bone. And this is after I'm experiencing force pains or attacks on my genitals. Pain. When I say attacks, these are pains, spiritual pains. Also on my coccyx bone. So it would be easy to think that that's the reason why. It's because of the spirit. It's because here in Annapolis, with the United States Navy, Army, the police are prevalent, and other military branches. And some of them, not saying all, have the telepathic code and able to use science to force engage, to delegate someone to another male, unclean spirit, to delegate. Because remember, in some of my testimony, some of the black males would cover themselves. One of them had a black Negro energy, cover his head, and actually try to stick his penis in my vagina. And I woke up immediately here in this hotel, but the hotel was named Extended Stay America, and I was at another room, 116. Or another black male tried to lick my vagina, and in my dream was licking, and it had bumps on my vagina. And black males were saying we're the same. And then I had induced thoughts that I had herpes or warts. Like I'm not better than they are. Okay? Okay? I'm gonna leave that thought. So definitely when I came here, it was as though an unclean spirit was put upon me to cause a reaction, sending forth sharp pain. Like I give testimony about black, Negro, African American females making an accent, a frequency in the room, and all of a sudden I feel like my gentle is being attacked with a sharp pain, while the female is speaking like she is doing it. Or I feel a forced sharp pain in my coccyx bone, and I sore appear. So what would be the reason to make a person feel or think that they have a sexually transmitted disease if they didn't have one? Another thing is, I remember when I was working at Burger King with this guy named Khalid Muhammad. I did a testimony about this. I was sweeping the floor on the front line doing my job, and him and a group of other co-workers were talking about how Annapolis had a lot of herpes. I was not in the conversation. I don't get in conversations like that with them in that perspective, okay? And as he was saying that, I felt the four sharp pain in my ankle. As he was talking about herpes, he said the word herpes. I felt four sharp pain, and I said, "Ouch!" And I said, "Gosh, I just felt the four sharp pain." As Cully said, I said this out loud to myself as I'm sweeping with the broom in front of them. They're talking. I'm sweeping the front line. I said, "I just felt the four sharp pain," while he said herpes, and Cully was like, "What did you say, Rhonda? What did you say about it? Did you say something?" I said, "Colleen, I'm not in that conversation. You talking about herpes, whatever. I'm not in that conversation." And he was trying to include me in the conversation. I said, "No, I'm not in that conversation." So he was talking about how Annapolis had a high rate of herpes, or which is a sexually transmitted disease. And so I didn't have. I was wondering why. First of all, my genitals are being attacked. It's like deliberately some form of a government, United States government, is deliberately putting an unclean spirit upon me to attack the genitals, my coccyx bone, seeing four sharp pain on my coccyx bone to cause irritation. It's like trying to stimulate whatever unclean, infected area that might be dormant, because it's always seemed to happen right before I got my menstrual or during my menstrual cycle. That's when the attacks where I'm experiencing four sharp pains will increase. And then when I started to document these things, I noticed I kept experiencing induced thoughts that I don't have herpes. She don't have herpes. She don't have herpes. I even had induced thoughts from saying Navy. She don't have herpes. Navy, Navy. Like some form of the Navy can tell if I have herpes or not. What I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Elon Musk, is that I think viruses are more than just a form of science and parasites, worms. I think these are intelligence, okay? And I think to control masses of people, because I think the United States government, a government, knew that these days will come where those that they have used for years that with the telepathic code gave or made them into humanoid laboratory experiments, humanoid AI, they have already been using them for over 70 years to attack the mind, to spread diseases. Like if an infected body go out and have sex with several women and men, like the syphilis epidemic in Tuskegee, Alabama, that happened over maybe 50, 60 years, over 70 years ago. So the United States government, if you look through history, Mr. Elon Musk, is not um, absent of using humans to spread diseases. Put a human in a population or community of people that's infected, maybe infected with AIDS, infected with HIV or other forms of a sexual transmitted disease. So AIDS is a virus, herpes is a virus, and there's other diseases. The United States has a history to be known to do this, and in that history, when you say government, we have to know it's the military involved. Islam, the United States Navy, Army, other military branches involved in doing such things, and they know the history. So here I am in Annapolis, where the United States Navy, Army, military branches are prevalent, and I'm experiencing a forced engagement of sharp pains. First of all, still hearing frequency in the room. We don't know anyone personally here in Annapolis. In Arrington-Bey, we just said this on the first video. This is part 2. We don't know anyone here personally in Annapolis. But we hear a frequency of a black Negro female saying, I love your son, or brother paid, I paid. Spanish speaking accents saying, brother love you, I paid, hola, amigo, we paid. So, Mr. Elon Musk, what I'm trying to explain is I think I was infected when I was 16 and 17 years old, but the virus was dormant. But through science, the military, the United States military, the government can see citizens, see what they are infected with, what viruses are dormant inside of them, and to keep them in control or control them, whether it's causing mental disease or some form of stress, or maybe spread it to someone else. Maybe the person is ignorant and don't know. They deliberately, I don't think all nurses and doctors are ignorant to what the military can do in the United States government. They deliberately inform people that they don't have a virus, that they're not infected. All the while, they have a label that this woman or man is infected. That's an infected body. And we know how to activate the virus, the parasites, the worms when we want to, when needed, which will cause that person to either have to go to the doctor, whatever it may be, or even spread it to someone else, not knowing. See, this happened with the syphilis experiment in Tuskegee, Alabama. The doctors and nurses were supposed to be healing those that were infected with syphilis, but instead they gave them sugar pills. So the men and women went back out to the community, African Americans, thinking that they were being healed or they were healed. But instead they weren't, and they spread the syphilis virus even more in the community. They deliberately gave them sugar pills, or pills that had nothing to do with healing syphilis, to stop the progression of the next stage. So they went back out having sex and living their life thinking that they were okay. This is what I think has happened, not just with me, but definitely with me, but many, 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 many Americans on this landmass, or many people, inhabitants on this landmass. And so here I am in Annapolis, where obviously the science of telepathy is being used to force engage. Okay? Sending 4 sharp pains to my genitals to activate the virus that still exists. It was dormant. So that which is infected and freely infected, now I have come down to their levels, like to have sex with one of them and let them a part of my world. Because I was experiencing induced thoughts, like when at first, before I started documenting about possibly I might be infected. I'm not sure. And I was saying I was tested and the doctor said I wasn't. And of course, and I'm going to say I wanted to believe that. Because I was like, but truth was already telling me it's not true. Even though the sequence of events of my genitals being attacked, I'm experiencing 4 sharp pains in my genitals and my coccyx bones by unclean spirits. These are government, military terrorists, spiritual terrorists, okay? To activate the virus that's been there, to control me and bring me down, and then plant thoughts about status. I'm in a lower status and start speaking about space. Space. Like they have some form of space law. NASA. Like it's a space law. This is what I think has been going on with many inhabitants on this landmass. So you have women and men spreading viruses. Yes, they say a virus must be activated or for it to spread. That's what they say. But how do you know for sure? So what these once again, when I first came to Annapolis, it didn't take long for my dreams to start being manipulated. I think maybe within the first, even when we were living in a tent, a black Negro male was trying to lick my vagina. I remember that while we was living in a tent, they're trying to figure out where we're going to go here in Annapolis at the shelter. It was a black Negro male. It didn't take long. I was sleeping. I was dreaming. I was dreaming in a tent. I was sleeping. I was tired. We were in a tent. It didn't take long for me to give a testimony about experiencing a forced sharp pain. I never experienced pain like this before that I can acknowledge. Where it was so much, it's like, where is this coming from? So I think I was inflicted or infected when I was a young teenage girl at around 18 years old, and I didn't know. All I know is Shane told me to go get checked out. I knew I need to get checked out, and I went to go get checked out. Came up negative, and I think doctors, not all, but too many of them know, and they say no, you're okay. Just like the doctors during the Tuskegee, Alabama experiment, because if you know the future of what, and you already know as a doctor, a nurse, hospital professionals, that we are among unclean spirits that are able to send force sharp pains to the organs, attack fetuses in the belly, cause them to have the Down syndrome, causing them to come out with deformities. You as a doctor, nurse, and other hospital professionals, you already know that we are among unclean, unnatural spirits, laboratory spirits, humanoid AI that are able to manipulate thoughts, emotions, masses of people. You already know that they're using the radio, they're using the TV. The TV is more than just a show, a TV that displays different shows, but it's actually a satellite where many forms of bondage can take place. You already know this. So, and you already know that the goal is, because you're not naturalized under laws of freedom as a doctor, a nurse. This is hypothetically, or a hospital professional. You're not naturalized under laws of freedom. So you already know the goal is to get people to give people a telepathic code so that they can experience what you are already experiencing, or the unclean spirits that the United States government, United States military have been using for over 70 years to cause people to get sick, to activate cancer cells, to induce thoughts, to encourage um, unhealthy financial spending, to encourage unhealthy sexual behavior, using unclean spirit. You already know that the United States military, the United States government, allowing these spirits to possess teenagers, young adults, children, so that they can be inside that body while being molested or having sex. You already know this, and you already know the goal in the future: to remove all rights and spirits of freedom from each individual. First, starting with the body, the temple. In the preamble, Mr. Elon Musk, it speaks about the well-being. We have the right to to be prosperous and the well-being, and to live life in a prosperous manner. I need to have the preamble in front of me. But in the preamble, I remember the National Grand Sheiks pointed out there's the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The body, our temple, consists of these energy fields. So viruses, parasites, worms are intelligence. They're not just something that you're trying to get rid of, because what is dormant inside can also affect the outside. So it's like, okay, here's a thought: a Trojan horse. I'm going to use the thought. It's a Trojan horse. Putting a Trojan horse, like the story of Troy. I think it was Troy, the Greek story of Troy. Actually, I think when I read, Troy was actually in Turkey. It existed in Turkey, ancient Turkey. I'm not sure, but I think that's what I was reading one time, that it didn't. It existed, that area existed in Turkey, ancient Turkey. I'm going to use that thought because I've had this thought before. So it's like the United States government used a Trojan horse to enter the temple of the body, leave it there. And when the government feels like, because it already know the corrupt banks, the banks that are using the corrupt hospitals, the corrupt doctors and nurses and professionals who already know, been knowing, because they making much blood money. Can you imagine how many blood sacrifices have gone on because of unclean spirits causing heart attacks, brain tumors, activating cancer cells, downloading thoughts of sweets, and making the chemistry of the body, encouraging the chemistry of the body to be so imbalanced. So putting a Trojan horse in a temple of a body is the first step. It is a major war tactic. War. These are acts of war. So I think, once again, I was infected when I was 18 years old, and I think, and I'm going to say 99%. I'm sure I was infected when I was 18 years old. I'm going to leave 1%, and just like knowing that the TV is a satellite now, and there were many cameras all over the place. There are satellites outside, supposedly in space. They able to tune in, and they keeping the data. of those that are infected, because they're putting those that are infected through health, because it's the body. Your body is a temple. It's more than just flesh and bones. Your mind, your body is a spiritual spaceship. And so that which is unclean and unnatural in spirit, demonic, know this. Know that our bodies are spiritual. When I say our body, I'm going to say my body and others like me is a spiritual spaceship that has the ability to do many wonders that harmonize with the frequency, a high frequency of planet Earth. So if you're trying to stop those that are able to connect with the divinity in them on a high frequency, this would be a thought that I can see an unclean, filthy, demonic spirit would do. Plant Trojan horses, viruses that can stay dormant, with corrupt hospitals, nurses and doctors and professionals knowing about it. Just like they knew about the coronavirus. Just like they knew about the coronavirus. And all those people that died after being vaccinated. So right now, Mr. Elon Musk, I am accepting that I am healing. Okay? I accept that I am healing. And I am leaving, I'm going to say I am healing because I could have been exposed. I'm going to leave that 1% to something that was dormant. Because if you, I think it was personally done in a sequence to send for sharp pains right before my menstrual, because these are the characteristics of herpes to appear, or warts, to have the sore appear during the menstrual cycle for women, and a little bit after, or for them to even stay dormant. It even says in some books that it can stay dormant for a year or so. And then, but to induce thoughts that you don't have it is a trick. So why would a government want to make a person think that they are not exposed to something so unclean, such as a virus, when they have been? Especially a virus that they can work on healing and cleansing from themselves. Because the reason why I think they would do it is because they're using viruses, and once again, and other virus, and like herpes and other viruses similar to that, where they claim they don't have a cure, to put certain groups of people in a status. Because your health, your body is a spiritual spaceship. Health is connected to freedom. Your rights to be free. Now, what's sick to think about is how many people are programmed and are going along with it. So the next step would be transforming the minds of the people. Transhumans, humanoid AI, lab experiments, males and females. The black Negro male, brother. Not all, but too many. We the same. Bring her here in Annapolis. I kept hearing blacks say, bring her down. And my genitals started being attacked. What kind of thought process is that? So, bring me down, my genitals attacked, and then I might have herpes, and you want to be with me? If you're a sex trafficker, yeah. If you're trying to sex traffic, yeah, and then implement some form of bondage, yes. And then all you gotta do is to tell a person start saying, "I own that person." Another person say, "I want to buy that person." That person or that lab experiment, that humanoid AI or transhuman starts that's able to send forth sharp pains and cause someone to fall down, not fall down, but maybe feel subjugated to a point where they don't want to fight for their freedom anymore. Start to do whatever it takes not to feel the dis-ease. Okay, they start to, because then they feel like they broke the spirit of the person, of the woman, of the man, of the child. And so then the beast, the transhuman, the humanoid AI lab experiment, then saying, "I paid," and then they do some form of money exchange with somebody who don't own that spiritual body, that spiritual spaceship, but has literally used acts of terrorism, acts of war on an individual, and then through thoughts and behavior demonstrate how they paid for this to happen. America, or this landmass, have one of the most highest rates of medical debt. Now, this landmass has zombie cities popping up everywhere. People walking around in a daze. And then sometimes they come back conscious, sometimes, and then they go back to a daze. It's like they're looking at the TV in a daze, the TV, for answers, or just like they're looking to get a signal. Then they come back. So I'm working on healing myself from any infliction. Okay, I'm healing from all infliction. Mental, freeing my mind. And money is too. Freeing, cleansing my body. Healing my genitals. All aspects of my spiritual spaceship. This is blue vervain, and also I have the sea moss blue vervain. It's gonna be here Monday, but this is blue vervain. I'm so thankful to have it. This is supposed to help with any killing and destroying any virus. This is actually something that Native Americans use quite often. This is also have other herbs. This is meso gold, meso silver, meso copper, black seed oil, and meso platinum. Okay, I'm going to stop there, Miss Elon Musk, and ask you a few moments. So, try to make sure I said everything. Today at Burger King, this black male came into Burger King today, and he just looked at the other coworkers and said, can you take my order? I don't want her taking my order. Today, this is April 12th, 2024. I don't remember seeing him. I might have seen him a couple of times since 2016, maybe once or twice. But I don't remember taking his order enough for him to come and say that. I was so surprised. Like, why is this guy saying this? I just said, okay, no problem. I don't know what I did because I don't think I ever took his order. If I had, it had to be once or twice. So he came in today. Anyway, it made me think of the thoughts today as I'm cleansing about how maybe like last year or earlier this year, it was like in December of 2023. Um, I had a bag of now I don't put my bag in the locker. I don't lock it up because it's really really stressful for me to take the time. I'm the only one that uses a lock on the lockers. Okay, and to put my stuff in a locker and then lock it up, it takes time. The reason why I started doing it because I had issues with my tablet and other things was odd when I would look at my stuff. And not only that, one of the coworkers actually went in my purse. He said he thought it was someone else's purse, but anyway, there's too many things that were odd was going on, so I started locking my stuff up in the locker because I had important stuff and I didn't want it to get so happily disappear. But here, this is something else to correlate to the reason why I was locking my stuff in the locker. So this particular day, I'm pretty sure I locked my purse and everything in the locker, but my Whole Foods bag I put on the side because I couldn't fit it in there. I'm pretty sure this is what happened. Um, and when I was getting ready to leave, I noticed that my Whole Foods bag was heavier. I was like, "What is this in my bag?" So I got my stuff, my purse and stuff out of the locker, and I go look behind the door to get my Whole Foods bag, and it's heavy. I open it up, someone put a whole bunch of canned food that I would see when we first came here from the shelter where we had our tent at. It's like literally 10 minutes from Burger King, walking distance. So walking distance 10 minutes, maybe 2 minutes driving distance, or 3 minutes driving distance. And I was like, "Who is this? Well, who put all this canned food in my bag?" The Dora and Hamima, Dora's from El Salvador, Hamima is from Mexico, came around me, and Dora's like, "I need, some about I need food, my food. I like, she was like making like comments about how like she's appreciative of food or something like that, and that or how she's thankful for her food or something like that. And I was like, Hamima, did you put this in there? I kept asking them, but they came around as soon as I started asking about it. When I opened up and saw it, both of them came around me. And Hamima was like, you don't want the food. You don't need the food. You don't want the food. And I told him, I said, Hamima, Dora, it's not that, I said, I don't know who put this in here, but don't do this anymore. I'm on a different diet. It's not, I mean, if I have to eat food that's not on my diet, I'm going to eat it, of course, even though it might possibly make me sick, but I would eat it. I mean, I'm thankful for food, but if I'm able to not eat the food and stay on the diet that I believe spiritually I'm supposed to be on, and that has definitely correspond by me not believing but having fruition because of me being able to demonstrate myself as a more balanced being, inhabited, um, aboriginal, Atashan more here, then I know I'm on the right track. But nonetheless, I was like, I mean, if I need to eat it, I would eat it. I said, but I don't need to eat this food right now. So I said, can y'all not put whoever did this? Can y'all not? Neither one of them said yes or no, but they came around me talking about how they are thankful for the food, or implying about how implying to be grateful for food, that they would eat the food or something like that. I didn't, and this was specifically, I heard this specifically from Dora in so many words. It was definitely in that tone and definitely in that way, but I can't recall every word she said right now. So I thought about that today. As a little bit afterwards, as the black male came in speaking about, I experienced that thought, saying he doesn't want me to take his order. I don't know why. I don't even remember this. See, I usually remember the customers. This guy, I'm not saying I never took his order before. I could have, but not enough for me to remember where it's like I gave him a bad impression. But he didn't say why to me, so I don't know. I just found it very odd. Islam, Mr. Elon Musk.